So Jordan Peterson's wife just entered the Catholic Church, and in this little clip that we're going to watch together, we get a marvelous lesson from Jordan Peterson in what it means really to love someone. Truly remarkable. Let's take a look.
Your beautiful wife, Tammy. When we last spoke, we talked about her incredible story and her terminal diagnosis, her recovery, miraculous recovery, many say. Many people are asking her today how she's feeling.
So if you don't know, Tammy Peterson, Jordan Peterson's wife, was diagnosed with a terminal cancer some years ago and had, from all doctors' reports, what seems an kind of unprecedented and miraculous healing. And you can see that in other videos on YouTube. I'm sure it's easy enough to find, where she tells that story and how this journey of healing, unexplained healing from cancer, led her to pursue the Catholic faith. And she just came in to the church just recently at Easter. And this is Jordan Peterson's reaction to her coming into the church. And we all know, if you follow Jordan Peterson, you know that he can be, and understandably so, very discreet about his particular approach to Christianity and Catholicism. What I really was moved by here, though, is his love for his wife. Check this out.
Confirmed and brought into the Catholic Church. How are you feeling about it?
Oh, it's been very good for her. So,
has it been good for you? You mentioned unity. Has it been good for your marriage, for the two of you as a couple?
No, it's been great.
Why do you say that?
So
this is fascinating to me. The fact that he said, he corrected, has it been good? No. And you think we're like, okay, where's this going? And he said, no, it's been great. And then he unfolds so tenderly how much this has blessed his wife. Let's just let him do it. Here we go.
I loved my wife from the moment I laid eyes on her when I was a kid. And if you love someone, it hurts you when you see them deviate from the thing that draws you to them. And since she's pursued her efforts at enlightening herself more thoroughly, and this investigation of Catholicism has been key to that, she's much more who she is. And
boom,
that's great.
Boom, boom, boom. See that, and you can see how moved the interviewer is there. Even he is tearing up, because this is a man sitting in front of him, globally known, who's witnessing to authentic love, genuine, sincere love for his wife. But to love another person here, if we were to give it a definition, Thomas Aquinas says to love another person is to will that other person's true good, no matter what it costs you, no matter what you might think about it otherwise, right? He's very discreet about what he thinks about Catholicism. That's a topic for another video. But my point here is we're seeing in Jordan Peterson such a genuine love for his wife that even if he's not into becoming a Catholic himself, he can see how this is allowing her person, the person that he genuinely loves, to flower and flourish. And this is a test and a mark of authentic love. Is a person's love making you more of yourself or less of yourself? And in all of us, there are mixed motives and genuine love and not genuine love. And I know for a time in my own marriage, my own wife felt like my very loud personality was kind of causing her to lose her sense of her own self. She was kind of lost in my loudness because she's much more of a quiet person. And I remember maybe 10 years into our marriage, my wife saying to me, I don't know who I am anymore. And that was a major wake-up call for me to examine what in me is not allowing my wife to flourish. You can see that level of maturity in Jordan and Tammy's relationship, where through many seasons of married life, they've come to this point of a love that is interested in the other's good and the other's flourishing, even if it costs Jordan, right? Let's keep going here.
Because I love who she is, and so the more of that, the better. And it's the same thing you want to see. If you have a child that you love, you want to see them become everything they could be, and that's a lot. If they become everything they could be, that's an endless unfolding. And so there isn't anything better than to see that in someone. Now, if you're bitter and resentful and jealous, envious, all of those things, then when you see that happen in someone else, you may punish it, because it's the sight of it is, that's the story of Cain and Abel. The sight of it
I'm
makes
convicted here too. Just, that little bit of my story I was sharing there a moment ago for a time in my marriage where my wife felt less of herself because of my kind of loudness, which translated into a kind of overbearingness of my personality that didn't know how to allow Wendy's personality to flourish in some ways. And I can remember he's talking about this kind of jealousy, or you're going to punish someone. And none of this is, well, rarely is it intentional. I know it wasn't intentional in my life. But as I've journeyed into pains in our relationship and ways I've hurt my wife and really tried to look at that honestly, I know what he's getting at here. My wife had a certain freedom from constricts that I lived within. Right? I grew up in an environment where you kind of had to put on a lot of masks to be approved of. You had to hide behind these masks in order to be considered worthy, in order to be considered lovable. Wendy attracted me to her because she didn't live in that prison, and it was a prison. She lived free of that by and large. And there is this competition within me between my better part and my less good part, my wounded part, my insecure part, my jealous part, whatever you want to call it. There was this war in me. I was attracted to that because I wanted that freedom that my wife had, and at the same time, something in me resented that she was free and I was not. I was like, hey, wait, again, none of this is conscious, but way down in there, I'm thinking, how are you allowed to be that free when I'm living in a prison here? Why don't you just come live with me in this prison so I don't need to be challenged by your freedom? And I think that's what Jordan means when we're not secure in our own humanity, we don't know what it really means to flourish as a human being, we get jealous of those who do flourish as human beings and we punish it. Isn't this why we crucified Jesus? This is in all of us. It's just fascinating to me that a secular psychologist who is astute enough to really study the human condition arrives at these same points that faith leads us to, even though he's not a professed person of faith. But I do believe this is what allows him to honor his wife Tammy's profession of faith. Let's see what else he has to say.
your own inadequacy unbearable, right? And if you love someone...
Yeah, that's the point. It makes your own inadequacy unbearable when we see the freedom of others and our own unfreedom. We can't bear it. That's the point I was making.
You're willing to bear that. You're willing to let their light shine, even if it casts you in a dimmer... if it casts you in a dimmer shade, let's say.
If you are free...
I love her.
If you really love, as Jordan really loves Tammy, you are willing to let that other person's light shine without feeling threatened by it. That's beautiful. That's true freedom and true love.
And so when I see her flowering, then that's great. And it's bottomlessly great. And that's really...
When I see her flowering, that's great. And it's bottomlessly great. A challenge from Jordan Peter's example to examine how genuine or not genuine is our love for the people in our lives. To love is to desire the person's true good. And Jordan desires his wife's true good, and he sees her true good flourishing through her becoming Catholic. To witness to the Catholic faith is just to allow the goodness that the Catholic faith allows to flower in us, to let that fragrance of that flowering be wafted abroad. And those who are attracted to that fragrance will be drawn to it. Even as I say it, I see Tammy as a kind of flower opening up and Jordan Peterson as a bee flying into that flower, right? He wants to delight in the nectar that is now available to him through his flowering wife. Anyway, just my reflections. What are your thoughts here? What did you learn here from Jordan Peterson's perspective on his wife becoming Catholic? I think there's much for great discussion. Join us in the comments below.